r/AskReddit. Ex-prisoners of Reddit, what was the scariest thing you saw whilst on the inside? Where I was, the guard towers were armed with a variety of less than lethal firearms. A fight started on the breezeway, main walkway between units. You hear the siren and you have about 10 seconds. Sit on your ass and cover your head before all guards start shooting shotguns loaded with rubber balls at you. One hit one of the guys fighting directly in the sack. Turned the front of his jeans red by the time they got him up and to the infirmary. Apparently lost a testicle due to rupture. Play stupid games. Win stupid prizes. Well, what if you're being fought? It can be hard not to participate. Not me, but my husband was in prison as a young adult. He said that they had a way of checking your ego in the spot he was at. The toughest guys would come up to you on your first day and ask how many push-ups you could do. If you were smart, you would just sorta blow it off or laugh it off and move on. If you were a stupid show-off or had something to prove, you would claim a large number or talk yourself up. If you did that, then they would be all friendly and be like, oh, let's see it. So the poor guy would do as many push-ups as they could. The tough guys would gas the new guy up, acting friendly, pushing him to do more. They acted impressed and joked around. Then as soon as the new guy had done as many push-ups as possible, they would jump him and beat him up. He would be helpless to resist because he had maxed himself out on push-ups. Afterwards, any guy with an ego was normally really quiet for the remainder of their stay. Not a prisoner, but an ex-guard. I worked at a juvenile detention facility in New Mexico. The absolute scariest thing I ever saw was a young boy, 9 years old, booked in for murdering both of his parents. There was nothing there. I failed to call this thing even human. I looked into this child's eyes and felt more fear than I ever have to this day. This was no child, it was a monster. Pure evil, condensed and given human form. And to clarify, I have booked and looked after murder suspects before. It was nothing new. But this kid was different. Very different. He never broke any rules and always followed commands, but never, ever spoke unless directly asked something. And then it was curt, short. Just to answer a question. He never cried, either. Which is highly unusual for a 9-year-old kid in jail. He was eventually tried and transferred to a mental facility. But I'll never forget the kid's eyes. It haunts me to this day. Jesus Christ, man. Your experience reminds me of what John Carpenter saw when visiting a mental health facility while in college. The boy he observed, with a description similar to yours, was the genesis for Michael Myers when writing the first Halloween film. Pure evil's when I was in a minimum, I saw some brutal fights. But the worst thing I ever witnessed was from some idiots. They stole some isopropyl alcohol from the unit somehow, brought it back, mixed it into drinks and drank it. They were fucked. Throwing up worse than I've ever seen and down for right sick as fuck, screaming in agony, shriveled in a ball on the floor. I've heard of people drinking floor stripper for GHB or some shits. But fuck. The things people will do to try and get fucked up is way beyond anything I can comprehend. Also a bonus answer for you. The worst, scariest, most painful thing I've ever dealt with. I got scabies and had it for 11 months. I was treated several times for it, but because people were infected around me, I kept getting it. If you have never had it or even heard of it, be thankful. I have scars on my body from scratching because of how itchy and uncomfortable I was. I finally had to threaten a hunger strike. You want them to listen in prison? Go to medical, ask them for the lieutenant and say you are going on a hunger strike. They treated me the last time and put me on a psych hold in isolation for 3 days. When I got out, they transferred me to a new housing unit and I never got it again. I was taking a shower in a communal shower. This guy walks in and is immediately jumped by 4 dudes. One guy takes out the metal strip to a safety razor and proceeds to cut this dude's fucking ear off. Good times lol. Edit, typo. Were you worried about getting caught watching? Were you concerned that they would do it to you next? Are you suggesting that there are areas in a communal shower in prison secluded enough to assault somebody and think you can get away with it? Chances are that the guards were on the guys like wolves on a sleeping calf. During a stint I'd say it's probably a pretty crazy fight. I think it was about a game of cards in which the pot was quite a bit of canteen items, chips, drinks, chocolate bars, ramen and the like. One guy, call him Guy A, was accused of cheating, denied it, was an argument, which led to the whole table checking his hand and he was indeed cheating, so two other prisoners, call them Guy B and C, convinced this guy, don't know how or why, to go to their house for a chat. Lo and behold, Guy A goes with. Not 5 minutes later, these dummies come rolling out of B and C's house fighting like crazy, bashing Guy A over the head with a radio, about as big as a fist. Piece of the radio breaks and now they're bashing it into his head with a bunch of jagged crap hanging from it. Ripped up Guy A's skull to the point I'm certain you could see his skull. Blood everywhere, damn near looked like a murder scene. The goon squad come busting in, pepper spray and Tazers ready. Guy A is pretty much on the ground already. Guy B surrenders after getting sprayed down. God awful smell BTW. Guy C thinks he's tougher than nails, so he charges at the goon squad only to get knocked by a taser, after which he was swarmed by half the damn goon squad. Guy C isn't exactly a small guy, he's like 6 feet 6 inches and never misses wreck. They finished tossing him, he swept the goons off him and rushed again, only to be maced more and tased again. Suffice it to say, the second jolt did it. Guy C drops to the ground, Guy A gets carried away in a stretcher. Lo and behold, due to the overcrowding problem at the prison during this time, we aren't allowed to be relocated while they do crime scene stuff on the block. We were stuck in our cells, fed in our cells and unable to get any rec time, save for a legally mandated 1 hour a day to go out to the courtyard, which is only like 20 by 20. That was a crazy time. Not me, but a teacher of mine told me a story of one of her students that spent a week in juvie. He wasn't there for more than 2 days when a gang of boys attacked him, sliced his back up with razors and raped him. No one knew until they came to release him, and his mum put a hand on his back only to hear him scream in pain because of all the cuts on his back. Jesus. Now see, he would have preferred the blue burrito to the banana. I spent a couple of weeks in county jail. On the first day, when we were all being processed into the facility, strip, bend over, spread your cheeks, and cough, we were told very succinctly to never ever even joke about suicide while in the facility. Kinda like how you just don't say bomb on an airplane anymore. By day 3, I had a good understanding of the other guys I was locked up with. I was physically the biggest of the white guys in our pod, so all the white kids huddled around my table at meals to keep away from the Hispanic folks and the black folks. Yes, there are 3 teams in correctional facilities whether you like it or not. There was one kid in the group that seemed underdeveloped mentally. He probably had a learning disability among other things, but he essentially acted like a 12-year-old. I knew early on he was going to get himself in trouble because he never stopped talking or moving, and he was rubbing everyone the wrong way. I tried to tell him to chill out and be invisible, but he was not understanding what I was telling him. I had been there a week when the 12-year-old finally lost his cool completely. He was in the shower, singing and joking around, putting on a performance that went too far, and he pooped on the floor as a joke. After the other guys in the shower grabbed their towels and ran, he proceeded to kick the poop all over the walls and into the other shower stalls. I didn't shower for the rest of my stay, truth be told. It turned into a big scene, and then when the trustees came in to clean up the poop all over the walls, it turned into an even bigger scene. The whole time, the 12-year-old was locked in a cell near the showers, laughing and joking as other inmates had to clean up his poop and make the shower area sanitary again. State-run facilities have standards after all. The next day, everyone was looking at the 12-year-old with hate in their eyes. Kinda like Gomer Pyle in Full Metal Jacket. Everyone missed their showers the day prior due to the poopsident, and then the kid was still up to his antics at breakfast the next day. Everyone got really cold toward him, even openly mean. I'll admit, I started ignoring him completely after the poop. It took him a day or 2 to realize he was hated by all, and then his personality changed dramatically. He became sad, despondent, and started talking to the COs because the other inmates wouldn't talk to him anymore. He fucked up and told the COs that he should just harm himself and make everyone happy, and that was all it took. They dragged out the blue burrito. This is the scariest thing I had seen in jail. The blue burrito was a 10-foot-long blue foam mat like you would use in gym class with two 12-foot-long red belts attached. They laid it out on the floor, forced the 12-year-old to lay on the mat, and then they rolled him up with his arms at his sides into the blue burrito. The two long red belts clipped together at the top and bottom of the burrito, keeping it all nice and tight. This was the suicide protocol at the jail. No counseling, no medical ward. You lose the ability to move. They put that poor bastard in the burrito around 8 p.m., dragged him into his cell and left him laying on the floor, wrapped up tight, until breakfast the next morning, around 8 a.m. The child molesters and gang members in protective custody get to eat breakfast first. Imagine being unable to move, barely able to breathe, with no end in sight for 12 hours on the floor of your 8x8 cell. My cell was up above his, and I heard him weeping and moaning in agony all night. He didn't say a word to anyone or look anyone in the eye for that matter for the rest of the time I was there. One night in the blue burrito broke him,